Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the making of album number 5. In this episode, I'm looking at a song called How Should I Know? And I wrote the song maybe a year ago, and it came out of a Twitch bar comment where at some point I tweaked the lighting in the Twitch bar, and when I tweaked the lighting, I kind of mentioned that I tweaked the lighting, and someone said in the chat, this is quite a mundane anecdote, someone in the chat, Duncan, I believe it was, said, I saw a subtle difference in the lighting when I looked at the chat. And I kind of liked that little phrase that he said, I saw a subtle difference in the lighting. It was a nice jumping off point for a song, I thought in my head. So I used it as the first line of the song, and it came up with it, which I ended up coming with this song, which is called How Should I Know? So yeah, wrote that. Since I last spoke to you as well, here's another little anecdote for you. It's not really an anecdote, it's just a thing that's happened. I put some more RAM in my computer, so I've now got 32 gig in there because my computer is like 10 years old. Everything in it is ancient. And the RAM that I already had in that, 16 gig of RAM, to get the equivalent, another 16 gig of that now in today's money on eBay, second hand, was like 20, 30 quid, something like that. So I very cheaply doubled the RAM in my computer. Another thing, I've got a technical glitch with one of my LED lights, which I've got here at the moment shining on me, and that started flickering a little bit whenever it's up full. So I've adjusted the ISO to be higher to make it brighter to compensate for the fact that I can't put this light on full anymore because it flickers for some reason. But there you go. So to start this song off, I've written it, I have played it a bunch of times in various ways. I wasn't 100% sure whether to use downward strumming or to do like a more singer-songwriter kind of strumming pattern. I'm sort of thinking at the moment I'm going to start with downward strumming and a deadened guitar strings for the beginning of it. I'm going to play it on an electric and have some grit to it, a little bit of overdrive and distortion. I'm thinking I'll start with the downward strumming, and then there'll be a gap, and then all the drums and everything will kick in, and then it will go to normal strumming with a bigger guitar sound and all the rest of it. So first things first, I'm going to try and play the whole thing all the way through to a click track, which is set up at the moment. It is 130 BPM after some messing around. So that's what I'm going to do now.
I saw a subtle difference in the lighting. I heard a sudden change in key. I thought I had this whole thing figured out this time, but you had other plans for me. How should I know? Are we both dead, or did we just stop living yet? How should I know? The silence here is almost deafening.
Okay, it's now sometime later. I've played the entire thing to a click track with all the stops and everything else. Then I've taken that very rough recording and I've used that to add, basically to figure out where all the bits go. So let me show you on the screen. Can you see the screen? Yes, you can see the screen because I'm showing you the screen. Right, so what I've done is played it to a click track, and then I've added my little markers here so that I know where the verses and the choruses are, and then I've coded some rough drums that I'm using to basically figure out how I want the drums to go. Scott may come up with something better, you never know. I'm pretty sure he will come up with something better than what I've programmed in Cubase, but at least I know kind of where the kick and the snare sits, and like where it gets louder and quieter, and where there are no drums at all, which is at the beginning. So it starts with no drums on the verse. At the beginning, it starts, the vocals, I'm going to have it so that the bass, the deadened guitar and the vocals all just come in straight off the bat here in verse 1.
I saw a subtle difference.
after that first verse, the drums do a little bit of a fill, and then everything comes in for a big chorus straight away after that first verse. And then we've got the same thing again. So in the second verse, we've got a more subdued drum on there. By more subdued drumming, I mean that I'm using a close hi-hat instead of a ride. And then again, the drums drop out briefly and just got the sound of the hi-hat before the chorus delivers again. It all goes up, so that's, you get cut out here. So there we go. And then we've got a middle, another chorus, and an outro, which ends with a resound, and the whole song ends with a resounding chord and a ride, as it should. It's got a different. I do change at the very end. I do change the chords for the last bit of the outro, which is something I don't often do. There we have it. We've got structure, we've got drums, we've got a very rough take of the song. So the next thing I'm going to do is start building up from these drums and adding the bass. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've already come up with a few ideas for the bass. It's going to be a fairly rough, raucousy sounding song by the sounds of it. So it's not going to be really precise like other songs like the last one, which was 10%, where everything was a bit more kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Exact, methodical. Just basically, this is more going to sound more sort of like a live band playing a song, which is what it will be evolved to when we go into the studio. But yeah, let's do some bass.
I saw a subtle difference in the lighting. I heard a sudden change in key. I thought I had this whole thing figured out this time, but you had other plans for me.
Right, so the drums are done. I've recorded bass to the drums. I'm finished with that now. And the next thing I'm going to do is start doing the rhythm guitar using the rough rhythm guitar that I already had from the scratch guitar track. I've gone through some different guitar sounds and found a few that I like. So the idea is next that I will now play to the drums and the bass that are there and just use that to basically to do everything again, to basically start recording the guitar. So I'm going to do the guitar 2 or 3 times. Another thing I'm going to do with the guitar is I liked the fact that when I was playing and singing at the same time, the mic was picking up some of the guitar, just the strings being played without being amplified or anything else. It sounded quite nice, so I might also put that on there as well. And then obviously after that do the vocals. But here's what it sounds like so far, those first 2 tracks. So if I go to the screen, press play, so that's done and that's done. These are both scratch stuff. Hopefully you can hear that. And this is the guitar sound that I liked, which sounds... Right, here's the guitar sound that I liked. What did I choose? It was... American Woman. So I'm going to bin this off, and re-record that. So we'll start with the guitar. Right, so that's the electric guitar done. I've like laid it up a few times and recorded that. I'm now going to do the vocals. Once I finish doing the vocals, then I will just take you through the Cubase project. For the vocals, I'm thinking it will just be, I'll sing the song all the way through, obviously. And then after that, I'm going to start doubling up certain bits. I want like 2 or 3. There's at the beginning of every chorus, the lyric goes, "How should I know?" And then it's blah, blah, blah. "How should I know?" Blah, blah, blah. And on the "How should I know?" I want it to be quite layered up. So it's about 3 or 4, "How should I know?" And then the answer comes. Or not the, I don't know if it's an answer. It's a lyric. How should I know when this happens? So I'm going to do that, and then possibly I've got another idea for the mid-late, which is kind of an instrumental part where it changes the chord sequence briefly. I want to do something where maybe just do some oohs or some ahs on that as well. So I'm going to start figuring out the vocals next.
I saw a subtle difference in the lighting. I heard a sudden change in key. I thought I had this whole thing figured out. How should I know? Are we both dead, or did we just stop living it? How should I know when it's 3?
And again.
How should I know? Are we both dead, or did we just stop living it? How should I know?
So it's a day later now, all the guitars are done and the vocals are done. Got one extra overdub on there as well, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much just a guitar track type thingy. It's a song with guitar. I will share my screen. I'll show you through what I've done. What we've got is the intro, as I said. So the intro is just, all I've got going on there is bass. You've got the deadened guitar strumming and just one set of vocals. Sounds like this.
I saw a subtle difference in the lighting. I heard a sudden.
And then, as I said earlier, we have the kick, little sort of drum fill bit here. It goes da-da-dan, and then you get lots of layered ups. I'm playing this, I'm not playing it deadened anymore at this point, I'm playing it undeadened and strumming up and down. And then I've added 2 extra guitars as well, so it hits home in a big way. Right, here we go. Down the bottom here with the vocals, as I also said, what I did was I just layered up my vocals multiple times on those bits where it goes, "How should I know?" So if I play that all together.
How should I know? Are we both dead, or did we just stop living it? How should I know when it's 3 a.m. and the cars stop coming?
And then as it comes out of there, so as it comes out of the chorus into the first verse, you've now got drums on the verse, but I've just taken 2 of the guitars out, so it comes back down again.
All you had to say was something.
And then everything goes up again. for the chorus. It's the same chorus here.
How should I know?
I added one extra guitar here, which is this bit here. Is it that one? Let me just check. That. So I've got the guitar, 2 extra guitars, and then I don't have that on anywhere else. It's the first time this comes in. And it's kind of got a weird effect on it, because it's kind of, I put this guitar effect on it, and it almost sounds like you can hear when it's all together, it sounds like someone going, ah, but it's not. It's kind of like the remnants of this guitar effect. So all together, just so that the second chorus is a bit bigger than the first chorus.
How should I know? Are we both dead, or did we just stop living?
It's barely there. You can just about hear it in the mix, but just kind of give it a little bit more of a lift. And then we've got the middle, and the middle is just an instrumental bit where the chord sequence changes. And I've added 2 things to that. One is I was going to have no vocals, and I thought I could kind of hear in my mind's eye like some oohs and some ahs. I'll improve these when, obviously, when we get into the studio and do it properly, but I've just gone ooh, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4 times layered up. And as you can hear, there's some delay on one of those and just a little bit of reverb on the other 3. And then all together, oh, and this as well, I've added this other little guitar part here, which goes. And that is an arpeggio. Someone commented, so I now know how to pronounce it's not arpeggio as I was saying, it's arpeggio. Thank you, the person that put that in the comments. I now feel slightly smarter. So that's the middle. Back into the chorus one last time, and then in this song I actually have an outro. So it changes at the very end. And this, I thought it'd be really cool to have, like, I think songs like Wonderwall did it, where it's just that you have this piano bit and the only time it plays in the entire thing is on the outro on Wonderwall. I always quite like that. I thought it'd be quite cool to try that out with this song, to have some sort of plinky plonky piano at the very end of it. So that's what so I could have played that maybe, but probably not as well as someone that can play piano properly. So I asked Simon, who some of you might know from the Twitch bar, UK Simon. He does piano renditions of British IBM songs like this one. And he came up with this few ideas for the outro. So here's one of them that I liked and I put in there. So it sounds like this. That's with the effects. I've got a weird Abbey Road thing on there. Without the Abbey Road, it sounds like this. And then with the Abbey Road thing, obviously it sounds like. What have I put on that? I'm actually thinking it might be quite cool to put it through a sound effect that makes it sound like that plinky plonky piano that plays in Westworld, something like that. But anyway, it's sort of in there, it's sort of in the same mix as like the rhythm stuff, and all together the outro sounds like this. So there you have it, another demo done, one step closer to a new album. So that will go into the studio. If you want to hear that demo in its entirety, then you can do so by joining the Patreon. If you can do that for like as little as I think like a couple of dollars a month, So you can always join up for a little bit, listen to some of the demos if you're interested, and any of the money that goes into the Patreon just goes straight back into us recording music and going into the studio and recording more music. What else we're going to say? I think that's it. Thank you for watching.